going on for myself and that we are live and you can see me. Okay, perfect. All righty, so I'm going to be watching here to make sure I don't miss any of your comments. If I do, as always, I'll come back later. If you're here on the replay, go ahead and do your hashtag replay so that I know you've seen the content. I'd love to know who's seen it. If they have any questions, it's easier for me to see what they want to talk about. Now, for today, as I mentioned, we're talking about the 3 steps to start your baking business. The reason we're talking about this today is I just added a bunch of new people into our community group, and many of them said, I'm just here because I don't know where to start. I want to do it, but I don't know what to focus on. So I wanted to make sure that I could share that information with you so that you have a little bit more of an understanding of what I would suggest looking at. And after working with thousands of bakers in 52 countries all over the world, it seems to be kind of the same set of 3 things that make sense to spend a little time on before moving on to other parts of your business. So today, we're not going to be talking about making menus. We're not going to be talking about naming your business. That all comes later. Now, if you want more information about these lives before we get into it, you can always check the events section in our group, the Bakery Business School group. Sometimes it takes me a while to put the events up, so it might be a couple days before, but you can go ahead and check there and mark yourself as going if you see any events you want to take part in. You can also send me a Facebook friend request, which is actually the easiest way. And then when I make an event, I can send you an invitation at that same time. Or you can join our email list on the website, buildabetterbakerynow.com. And I send out replays of these lives. Pretty much every week you'll see one, depending on what we've been talking about. Okay, so as I mentioned, today, we're not going to be talking about a ton of things that you might see a lot of bakers starting to focus on within the first few months of them deciding they want to have a business. And that's not going to be the name, the menu. They're fun and sexy. People like to think about them. It's really kind of like a romantic, got to make my menu kind of situation. So I totally get it, but you could be wasting your time. And that's why I want to talk about the 3 steps today that I suggest actually starting with. Okay. Now, go ahead and throw up a hashtag live if you're here with me live. And either live or replay, I want you to let me know in the comments before we get into this. Are you just starting your business now, thinking about starting it, or have you been in business for a while? Kind of let me know, maybe with months or years or whatever's going on, or just starting, so I can get a vibe for who's watching the video and maybe where you're at right now. Okay, and I'm just going to jump right in because essentially the 3 steps we're going to be talking about cover the mentality and the investigation behind what you need to figure out before making any serious hard decisions about your business, like menu or name or anything like that. So step 1 is going to be making sure that what you want to do is legal in your area. Many bakers work from home right now. It's hard to find commercial space. It's hard to have, hard to have the funds on hand to do that. So many people work from home. I know some of you have storefronts too. If you are working from home and you're in the US, you're going to be under what's called cottage laws. And those are for home bakers. And they're usually, it goes state by state. So you'd have to figure out what's legally an option for you in your state. And sometimes there are specific laws with commercial operations as well. So you want to look at your state laws. So number 1, can I legally do what I am considering doing? Okay. I have plenty of bakers taking off of the business that's based on products that they actually aren't supposed to be selling. So a good example is like cheesecakes and dipped fruit. A lot of bakers sell those things, but in many of the states in the US, they're not actually, legally, they're not supposed to sell them. Those are 2 kind of big hitters of non-shelf stable products that bakers are selling. So they've made their menus, maybe they've named their business Melissa's Cheesecakes, and they're creating a following and they have social media accounts, but they're not actually doing this legally. And you might be thinking, I don't care about that too much, but I want to give you 2 reasons why you should care about it and at least know what you're dealing with. The first one is when you're looking at what's going on with the laws, you might see something that you cannot change, right? So let's say that the law says that you can't have pets in your home and you're going to bake from home, right? And most of us are probably not going to give up our pets to bake from home. So if that's the case, then that's a big deal. And that wouldn't be something that you could change later on, like a menu or a name or something. So looking at that specifically. And I'll also say that some laws also have restrictions on space, how the kitchen area is set up. There has to be a door separating the kitchen from the other parts of the house. Some places don't allow home baking. You can't make very much money, so you might want to look at that, because if you're looking to make a certain number of dollars, but you can't do it legally from your home, there's variables to it. So I want to send you to 2 different places. You can either look at forager.com, which is just a popular website that has fairly up-to-date information about different cottage laws in the US. And we also have a blog post in the articles of our website, which I can post when I get off of here for you to look at. And it gives you more information about cottage laws and a link and some special things that you might want to look at, just understanding what cottage laws are, what they're there for, etc. So the number one reason that you probably need to pay attention to this is that if something were to happen, and let's say that you have some insurance for your business that you want to claim on, you have you can place a legitimate claim, obviously, but there's a chance that they will deny it if you're not following the laws. So if they can look at your business and say, yeah, I see that XYZ happened, you're trying to place a claim, but you're selling products that are illegal, so we can't actually cover this claim because you're illegally operating, right? So there are situations where if you are doing something that's not legal, that your insurance might not even be able to cover you. And then secondly, there are people in the world, for whatever reason, who might want to turn you into the local authorities. So that's usually a competitive baker. It could be a customer who got sick from your product. It could be a person who wants everyone to follow the law to a T. They don't like that you're breaking the law, whatever it is, right? So people have turned other people in. I've seen it happen in person. It does happen. Now, I don't know what the local authorities are going to do about it, but they might not do anything, but that's still a possibility that might happen. Okay, so if you look into this and you find favorable information for your area, something that you can work with, and you want to push ahead, we're going to move on to step 2. Okay, so the first one is just looking at the local laws. What's going on with them? Can I fit inside of them? Does it kind of fit with my goal of what I want to do? Hey, Carol. Hey, Lori. Hey, Sarah. Good to see you. Let me know if you have any thoughts to add on this stuff. Okay, step 2, this is market research. So we haven't done anything yet, right? We haven't baked anything. We haven't sold anything, nothing. We're just doing research. Market research can be this whole big expensive thing. That's not what I'm talking about, unless you are opening a large business that you're putting a lot of funding into. Possibly pay someone to help you with this. But if you're just doing something from home or starting out small, you can do this on your own. You're going to check on your local community, usually via the internet and social media. Okay, you're just investigating what's going on. And again, you can invest in an actual market research agency if that's something that you want to do. And they'll get you hard numbers on your area. So you're going to be checking out, what are the other bakeries doing? Home bakeries, retail bakeries, look at everybody. Take notes, go in, buy and try their products, check out their positioning. What's their position? Are they the cheapest in town? Are they high end? Are they catering to the wedding industry? Are they getting is it a coffee shop? Just kind of figure out where's everyone sitting right now so that you can figure out what the market looks like, so that you can find a gap in the market. Okay. Now, you might be in a situation where there are no other bakeries around. And a lot of people think, yes, open market, that means I can do whatever I want. But I want to stop you for just a second here, and I want you to consider, why are there no other bakeries? Because that can be a problem. If you see other businesses doing something kind of similar in the area, that means there's a market for the product. So if there are no bakeries, or you've seen bakeries come and go, come and go, come and go, you need to ask yourself, what is it about the community that's not supporting this business model? Can I do it differently to help the community support it? Or what can I do to try something different, because those other entities didn't work? So now I've got to figure out, if I want to have a bakery here, what is it that I have to do to make it stick? You're also going to be checking out, what are people asking for? And this is like active listening, right? You're going to spend some time listening and investigating. And this is usually most notable on social media because people tend to share and ask questions often on there. If you have active community groups, you can just see without having to talk to anybody, what are people asking for? What are people looking at? What are people commenting about? And that's really an easy one to find in something like a foodies group or a group where people are posting about recipes or local business, food they've gotten from local businesses, etc. So you're going to take some time in this step. You're going to join some local community groups. You're going to ask questions. You're just going to listen and watch, maybe search in the search bar for cake, cookie, bread, whatever it is you want to sell, and see what people are talking about. So after you've looked through all of this, and you feel you have an opportunity to offer your services to your specific community in a way that's legal, that you feel comfortable doing, and you see a direct desire for a certain type of product or product category, note that down, write that down, because you're going to be taking some information down of what's possible for you. But I want you to know that just because people are fawning over a post you put up, pictures you put up, etc., that does not mean that's going to translate into money. It does not mean it's going to translate into sales. So look for the desires, know what people are interested in, but realize once you get going, you're still going to be marketing and hustling once you start selling, right? So you might be in a community where you can make one post and sell a couple $1,000s worth of product. You might be in a community where you have to make multiple posts to have an actual marketing campaign for people to see your information. So I don't know specifically for you, but if you're in a community where you've posted before and people goo and god and they love it and they're so interested, that does not mean that the moment you start selling, they're actually going to buy. Okay, I just want to put that out there because some people get really confused when they've done this research, they've asked some questions, people seem really interested, and then when they go to sell, people, no one's buying. That's a marketing thing, right? So just understand that if you're getting a lot of input, that could happen. Now, if you see that clear desire, something you want to focus on, what I suggest is start putting together about 1 to 3 products, not a ton, 1 to 3 that fill the market gaps that you're identifying. Okay, and by putting together, I mean just making some notes, doing some sketches, just kind of thinking about what is it that I could offer in my own way in this market gap to help fill the desires of the people that I'm seeing that need to be served. So it's not a menu. I don't want you to focus on the whole thing, naming and pricing and all of that. We're not going to focus on that yet. Just ideas, maybe some recipes you're finding, maybe you have some, family recipes you're trying to dig up. And that's what you're going to be kind of focusing on, right? If you have trouble locating a market gap, which is what we're looking for through market research, some further investigation is probably going to be needed. So if you're looking around and you're like, I still have no idea what people want, I don't really understand how to ask for this information, or I can't pick it out of the groups, you might need a little more help with that. And we do walk you through market gaps, their location, and how to create products that people actually want by filling the market gaps that you're seeing in your area. We walk you through that more in depth inside the Elite Mentorship Program. And I wanted to note here that we're opening a new tier of membership in April, and it's called the Silver tier. It's a little bit different. It's more affordable than what we've had before. So if you've had your eyeball on joining us in the program, this might actually be a really good fit, and I'll fill you in at the end of the session. Okay, so once you've determined a market gap to fill, you figured out what it is you're going to focus on, you're going to move on to step 3. Hey, Denise, good to see you. Glad you're here. Okay, step 3, from those 1 to 3 products that you've kind of, okay, there's a market gap for this, like I feel like this is going to work, you're going to create those items, and it can just start with 1 to 3 items in that market gap, and we're going to do a sampling. We're going to do a beta group. So this doesn't mean you're selling anything. This doesn't mean you're making a menu. Doesn't mean you have to have a business name, social media account, none of that. You're just making some things and you're picking out a small focus group. And I did a whole workshop on this, walking people through step by step how to put together a focus group. So if you want the replay to that, I still sell that on the side. If you want it, just let me know. Preferably this group is going to be people that you don't know and or very honest friends. Okay, so you'll know if you have an honest friend. Those people are okay, or people that you don't know. That's basically the only groups that are going to work for this, because you can't have the friends who always tell you everything is great. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for honest feedback. So make sure that when you're asking questions, you ask a lot of questions, they're open-ended. Try to get as much information from them as you can about their experience with the product that you're having them test. And make sure to give them room to hand you constructive criticism every single time, because that's what we need at this point. You need to make fixes and make things as good as possible before ever asking someone for $1 for a thing, right? We want it to be ready to go out the gate before trying to sell things, because when you start selling things for your business, that starts to color what people think about your business. So if you started selling without doing any market research and without doing any focus group testing with the products, you're going to end up with a weak product that some people probably don't want. And you won't know it, because sometimes when people buy something, they don't feel like they can tell you that they didn't like it. But if the whole point of the focus group is that they tell you if they like it or not, people sometimes feel more comfortable giving you that information. And this is going to be one of your best chances to hone your products before selling them. Just focus group every single time on a new product. So once you've kind of gathered some consumer feedback, some consumer input on these 1 to 3 products that you're thinking about starting off with, you've identified the market gaps that they're going to fit into, how they're going to serve your community, and you know what you're doing is legal, then you can move on to all the new fun bits. Like everything after that, which is where I see most people start. A lot of people skip these steps. They start with creating a menu, naming the business, getting social media accounts set up, the legality of everything, pricing, client communication, packaging, customer retention, sales strategies, targeted marketing, social media growth. All of those are kind of like the shiny ball syndrome, and we cover all of them in the elite program, but that isn't where you start, right? That's not where you get the information you need to make those decisions later. Because let's say, again, you were going to focus on cheesecakes, you're going to name your business Melissa's Cheesecakes, but then you realize, oh gosh, in step 1, I found out that I can't actually sell cheesecakes. So the whole name would be out the door and you'd have to come up with something else through your market research, right? So to recap, figuring out what you can sell legally. If you don't know what you can sell, you might have insurance issues, not covering claims, and or other bakers or people turning you into a local authority saying that you're doing something illegal. So number 1. Number 2, look for your market gap. If you don't look for a market gap, you'll be making things that you think people want, but you don't actually know. So that's going to end up wasting your time. And what might happen is you won't see as many buyers because you haven't verified that people want the product. And you might not see a lot of interest because you've made something that you wanted to make, but not necessarily what people want to buy, which is a disconnect. Just because you like to make something or you like to eat something does not mean that your community agrees with you. So that's where the market research comes in. Got to make sure those two things connect. And then lastly, start your product testing before selling, before any other building of the business. When you're doing that, if you don't do your product testing, you'll miss out on hugely important input that can make or break certain products. You might decide you don't even want to sell a product because of what people are saying about it. And the last thing that you want to do, really the last thing you want to do, is try to start a business, bootstrapping your business with weak products. Like that's just the first people you sell to, that's your first impression. So if you started out with weak products, you didn't product test, people are going to see that. Maybe it didn't taste good, didn't look good, didn't hold up on delivery, whatever it is, people are going to remember that. So we want to start you out strong. So these are the 3 important steps to setting up a viable business from the get-go. Most of it is investigation. And it will save you a ton of time backtracking and redoing down the line. A lot of people have to change their name. They have to shut down their business accounts, etc., because they made mistakes at the beginning. They didn't do these 3 things, and then they have to redo everything. So try those 3 things first. Okay, if anyone here has questions, let me know. Those are the 3 steps to starting your baking business that I wanted to cover today to help people get started, to know where to begin, get their little investigation hats on, check out what's going on around them. As always, if you feel like you could use some assistance, that's what I'm here for. That's what my team is here for. That's what Build a Better Bakery does. We help bakers build their businesses all over the world, all different kinds of bakeries. And we're here for you. So as I mentioned earlier, if you wanted the information, we do have that new tier of the mentorship program opening in April. And it's going to be essentially separating out some of the resources that we have into a smaller package for some people who didn't need some of the higher tier parts of the packages. we're going to give two really, really important parts at a lower price point, at a lower tier, so that you can still get some help, but you don't have to commit to the larger sections of the program if you weren't interested or you weren't ready for that. So the new tier offers access to the fountain of knowledge, we like to call it that, but it's really the vault library, and it's stuffed full with a ton of options of content: baking business, photography, social media, Instagram, Facebook, different sales strategies, organization training, planning, market gaps, everything that I listed out before, we cover in at least one training inside of the elite program. And if anyone here is in the elites, they can let you know that a lot of those trainings have helped them change certain parts of their business, grow certain parts of their business. On top of the access to that vault, it's going to be 24/7 access for this new tier. We're also going to be doing a new monthly motivational business building challenge. So we're going to help you implement the information inside of it rather than just telling you to, hey, watch it, and that's it. We're going to actually have small challenges each month that help you use the information and get wins every single month when you're in the program. So again, just another way to make it even easier for you to build a better bakery one step at a time. That's what we're all about. The new option is called the silver tier, and you'll see that if you go to get on the wait list, which I have a link for that I can put up in just a few minutes, or if you see it in the shop, you'll see the different tier names. And so if you're interested, I'm going to give you the link for more information, because you can get on the wait list for our beta group pricing. It's going to be lower for the first 10 people because I want to bring 10 people in April, let them give a go at how we're setting it up in April, and then get some information back on that. So I'm giving you a cut in price, and it's long term. So you get to keep that price forever if you want to stay on, not just the first month. So we're going to be awarding that to the first 10 people. And we're just going to open the doors in April and email everyone on the wait list, letting you know that it's time to join if you'd like to. So I'll put that link up in just a few minutes. As always, here to help you build your better bakery one step at a time, nice and slow, or fast if you want to. I offer one-on-one coaching if that's more your style, if you don't prefer group programs, but you want to just do one-on-one with me. I have just individual calls we can do, or even packages up on the website where you can get, multiple calls for less if you buy more than one. And then we can you set them up whenever you want to talk, and we talk about whatever you want to focus on. So those are pretty neat. Okay, so you can comment here if you have any questions about those 3 steps to start your baking business, or you can message me with any private questions you might have. Lastly, we also have a planning course online if you want to do it more on your own timeline. You can send me a message if you want a link to that one. It's called Planning for Success, and it helps you through your baking business plan. It helps you through your timeline, figuring out how much work you can produce in a year, all the mentality of starting your business, etc. It's a really good one. Okay. All righty, everyone. I hope you have a great Thursday. Sarah says she's definitely interested in silver. Okay, cool. Hey, Kelsey. Yep, I will put that link up in just a few minutes, Sarah, and then you're welcome to hang out on the wait list. I don't know which day I'm going to open it in April. It might be April 1, but I want to set up something inside of the group before I do it. So I just need to make sure that that's up there. But yes, I'll let you know over email. Okay. All right. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later. I'll be in the group, or you can always send me messages. Okay. All right. Bye.